Iraq on the map of change. Expert, expected international decisions will be taken before Trump's arrival. Quote, the unannounced visit of the U.S. Secretary of State is to complete the upcoming changes in Iraq. There is international and UN movement towards Iraq, and for this reason the new phase will witness major changes on the internal level, as Iraq is part of the change in the map of the new Middle East. Iraq within the map of change, specialist upcoming international decisions will be taken before the arrival of Trump. They want to make sure everything is finished before Trump takes office. There is a massive push as they want to be allies and very strong. As we get close to walk through this, RV/re/rate change, door, I want you to remember that there will always be cockroaches in the crawl space. There will always be cockroaches in the government of Iraq. There will always be troublemakers. You will always see eruptions. You will always see the Superman Saddani with a big S on his chest that will put those volcanoes out. US, Kuwait demand Iraq to respect international agreements. Iran is trying to get their hands on Iraq's $100 million US in the Federal Reserve Bank in New York City. This is why many Iraqis say this is Saddani as PM's last go-round. This has been going on for several months. Do not get comfortable with the progress Iraq is making. There may be a few steps backward and then a lot of steps forward. The tear in the country is showing. Parliament went on winter break without resolving some very serious issues. US Secretary of State is here on surprise visit. He's proclaiming how secure and stable we are in the region. Frank, don't even waste your time with him. Treat him like you do Parliament. Trump sent the people he wanted already, and the reason why is because of the success of your monetary reform. The auctions were for the purpose to maintain the exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar. For no other reason, period, end of story. So there will be no more foreign currency. No more USD. Then what else are they going to use? The lower notes. Blinken, I was amazed when I arrived in Baghdad by the construction in Iraq and the vitality of the capital. Quote, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken expressed his astonishment today, Saturday, after his recent visit to Baghdad, at the construction in Iraq and the vitality in the capital, while indicating that the Iraqi people deserve this development. TV talks about 140 ambassadors from around the world, and the IMF and the World Bank are arriving in Basra. They're saying for a historic event. That's where the ports are with the development project. They're saying to us this will link Iraq with international world. All these people are coming for a 3-day event. We did hear that the Iraqi dinar is trading and is in a trading range 4.00 to 4.20 in Iraq as an in-country rate now. Now our rates at the redemption center are totally different and much higher, our contract rate on the dinar in the redemption center only. I believe Iraq has revalued in country and budget, etc. past. We're just waiting for our turn, it's coming. Marks, I believe it has as well. Maybe that is why some of my best Iraqi contacts are not saying anything, but they suddenly have dollars, dinars. Saddani gave a big speech and he talked about how very serious his government is about increasing the citizens' purchasing power. He said Iraq has reached a historical time for financial increase. He talked about how stable we are. Frank, now that he has told you again for the 9th time, allow me to say this to you, start your countdown. Why will Iraq become one of Trump's priorities in the coming period? Urgent. Quote, Trump is planning major changes in the Middle East region, and therefore the region is entering a new phase, and Iraq will be at the forefront of these changes in terms of the security and economic reality. We sure hope it's this weekend. Things have sure gotten interesting. I got some reports from contacts in Iraq that they now have a lot more money than they used to have, but they won't say how or why, just that they have a lot more money than they had. They had told me they had expected to exchange sometime around Victory Day on December 10th. But they will not tell me where their sudden wealth has come from. I think things have started at the upper levels in Iraq. I am pretty excited. No, it's not going to jump to floating right away. That's not going to happen. They can't afford for the currency to crash. They can't afford for the economy to crash. It doesn't mean they're not going to get to a floating one sooner or later, but not right away. After being convicted of fraud and dismissed from the presidency of Parliament, which affected his political standing and influence, the head of the Progress Party, Mohammed al-Halbasi, is seeking to return to the scene by trying to get closer to the United States, amid warnings of his involvement in dangerous projects that threaten the unity of Iraq. Al-Halbasi visited the United States for political purposes in the past few days, which sparked controversy and was criticized by political forces because he does not have an official position that would allow him to do so, especially since the region is experiencing tense conditions as a result of the control of terrorist groups over Syria, and the infiltration of the Zionist entity into Syrian territory with declared American support. In this regard, member of the United Anbar Alliance, Ahmed El-Dulami, said in a statement to Al-Maluma Agency, the head of the Progress Alliance, Mohammed al-Halbasi, held meetings during his visit to the United States of America with American and Zionist figures that discussed, in an undeclared manner, mobilizing international support for the establishment of the Anbar region, in addition to mediating to prevent it from being included in the U.S. Treasury sanctions and his disagreement with Sheikh Rod al-Sulaiman regarding the proposal to establish the Anbar region supported by the Gulf states. He added that al-Halbasi's meeting with American officials was managed by Zionist figures to implement a plan aimed at dividing Iraq into disintegrating sectarian states that would be vulnerable to foreign interference, indicating that secret agreements were concluded between al-Halbasi, America and the Zionist entity to initiate a plan aimed at destabilizing the security and stability of Iraq to extend the stay of its forces indefinitely. He continued, al-Halbasi's visit came after Zionist threats were issued to strike Iraq with an American green light, adding, al-Halbasi held intensive contacts with the King of Jordan and Saudi Arabia upon the conclusion of his visit to America. For his part, Al-Fatah Alliance member Ali Aziz said in an interview with Al-Maluma Agency, al-Halbasi's movements, his visit to the United States, his meeting with figures in Anbar and the Western region, and his holding of celebrations is a marketing of his personality, as he went bankrupt from the presidency of Parliament and his bankruptcy was due to his deliberate forgery, so the judiciary removed him from the position, indicating that his current move aims to create a political independence for himself after his failure to become the President of Parliament. He added, there are conflicts in the Western region between political figures related to the upcoming elections, noting that the most important danger posed by Halbasi is the sale of Anbar and his concessions to the Americans and Zionists in the near future, which is the worst scenario in his movements. He pointed out that transferring the residents of Gaza to Anbar is a Zionist idea in which Gulf countries will participate, and undertake the construction of housing and the evacuation of Palestinian lands. This has been a Zionist demand for years, but there was no prepared land.